Welcome to the deep dive. So you've sent over some really interesting source material focusing on the gig economy and how work is changing.
Yeah, there's a lot to unpack there.
Definitely. So our mission today is basically to get a clearer picture of what this gig economy thing really means, why it's grown so fast, and, the big questions about how it affects workers and the economy. We'll stick closely to the sources you shared.
Sounds good. Let's get straight to it. The core difference, according to the material, it's really between traditional jobs, long-term, one boss, often benefits.
The standard setup.
Exactly. Versus the gig model, which is more about short projects, work on demand, often juggling multiple clients, and usually without those built-in safety nets.
Okay, so a pretty fundamental shift, and the sources really hammer home that technology has been key to this growth, right?
Oh, absolutely. It's crucial to understand how these digital platforms have, well, completely changed the game for labor markets.
Also, exactly.
Well, they've just massively lowered the barrier to entry. Think about it. Individuals can now connect directly with people who need their skills on a scale we've never seen before.
Like ride sharing or freelance writing platforms, that kind of thing.
Precisely. It makes offering those services incredibly straightforward compared to, say, 20 years ago.
Makes total sense. Okay, so let's dig into why someone might choose this path. What are the main benefits highlighted in the texts?
I think the big ones are flexibility and autonomy. That seems to be the core appeal.
Being your own boss, setting your hours.
Yeah, controlling your schedule, where you work. Plus, the sources mention things like earning extra income, maybe on the side, or getting to work on different kinds of projects, building up varied skills.
That flexibility sounds great, I get that.
Yeah.
But the flip side, what are the risks, the downsides for gig workers that the sources point out?
Yeah, that's critical. A major point is the lack of traditional benefits. We're talking health insurance, paid sick leave, retirement plans, stuff like that.
The basics you'd expect from a full-time job.
Right. And income can be really unpredictable, feast or famine sometimes. Plus, there's often less company investment in, training or helping workers develop their careers compared to traditional roles.
So it hits that sense of security, the stability, and access to those important benefits.
Exactly. And if you zoom out, this rise of gig work is definitely changing how companies think about their workforce.
How are companies adapting?
The sources suggest they're relying more on freelancers for specific tasks or to scale up and down quickly, which, could potentially mean fewer traditional full-time positions in some areas.
And I imagine this creates some legal headaches. The classification issue must come up.
Oh, definitely. That's a huge point in the material. There's this whole debate. Are these workers independent contractors, or should they be treated as employees?
And that distinction matters a lot, legally speaking.
Immensely. It affects everything from minimum wage and overtime to basic worker protections and what the company is obligated to provide. And the rules are, well, kind of all over the place depending on where you are.
Complex. And does this potentially feed into broader issues like economic inequality?
The sources touch on that. There's a concern that the gig economy could actually make inequality worse for some,
How so?
mainly due to that income instability and the lack of benefits we talked about, especially hitting workers who might already be vulnerable. Though, to be fair, some sources might also argue it creates opportunities for people shut out of traditional jobs. It's not black and white.
Right, it's nuanced. So considering all the pros, the cons, the instability, the big question you posed, can gig work really be a foundation for a stable, long-term career for most people?
Based on the material, it seems like, well, some people can definitely make it work. They can build a sustainable career this way. But,
But it's not easy.
right, it often takes a lot of self-discipline, being good at marketing yourself, managing your own finances, and just dealing with the unpredictable income. So
Yeah.
maybe not a universally viable path for everyone looking for that long-term security and traditional career ladder.
Okay. And finally, any specific industries where this gig stuff is really concentrated, according to the sources?
Yeah, the texts likely highlight sectors like transportation ride-sharing, delivery services are obvious ones. Also, creative fields like writing, graphic design, things often done through online platforms. And even some skilled trades are increasingly using digital marketplaces now.
Got it. So wrapping this up a bit, the gig economy is clearly reshaping things. It offers, real flexibility and new ways to work.
But it also brings significant challenges around security, benefits, and fairness for the workers involved.
It's interesting, too, that the experience isn't the same for everyone, is it?
Not at all. The sources imply it really depends on the platform you use. the actual work you're doing, your own skills, your financial situation, it varies hugely.
So a lot to think about. For you listening, as we see these trends, more flexible work, technology changing how companies and workers connect, what fundamental shifts do you think we'll see in the nature of work over the next, say, 10 years? Definitely something worth mulling over. Thanks for exploring this with us today.